Hello everyone, it is me, Alex X, also known as Alex Wells, and it's Thursday, and Thursday's just kind of a real kind of day, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, you're over the hump day, but it's not Friday yet, so you're just kind of like, just trying to get through it, and yeah, I'm also just really tired today, and part of it is because I stayed up kind of later than I should have, watching Stranger Things 2, like finishing it up with my housemates, and then we watched a bunch of the Beyond Stranger Things episodes, and I was like starting a new crochet project, because yeah, I crochet, and I got into that place where I was like, well, okay, well, I just did my big chain, so now I need to do the first row, so now I obviously have to do the second row, and that was a bad idea. And then I was like, but the edging on the blanket looks weird, so I had to go to Ravelry and look up other people's projects and see if, yeah, the edge was supposed to look like that, and actually, yeah, the edge is supposed to look like that, so, okay. And then kind of, I didn't sleep that well, because right before I went to bed, someone just randomly on Twitter decided to inform me that the word that I use to identify myself is not the right word, because they totally know me that well. So going to bed mad and kind of upset is always great. So I want to talk very briefly about that, and then I actually want to say like a few more things about Stranger Things too that are gonna be spoilery, so what I'll do is I'll do that at the end, and I'll just tell you, and you can just like stop if you don't want to get into the spoilery stuff. So the thing that I've been thinking about, other than like, why the fuck would you fly into somebody's mentions and be like, well, you are not queer, you are obviously blah 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 blah, and then make that a thing, like, first off, just don't be that person. I mean, why would you do that? But secondly, the thing you need to know is that, or the thing that is really on my mind is that you literally do not know, you cannot know what it is like to be someone else from the inside. Like, you don't know how they feel. You don't know, what their experience, their own experience of their life and the world is. And I mean, there's some of that already, and just like I already know that my experience as, say, a white person is not going to be the same as the experience of life that a black person has, but I'm talking just individually. Like, you literally cannot know what your next door neighbor, like, how they feel from the inside, and who they are, and what is inside them that they do not express outwardly, and what they express outwardly is not necessarily something that you are even going to interpret and understand the way that they mean you to. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think that's why, like, particularly identity policing, when it comes to this very inner experience of how I relate to my gender or my sexuality, like, you literally cannot know how I feel about that. You cannot know how I experience it. The closest we can get to knowing what it is to be someone else from the inside is by reading books, actually. And even that is a very imperfect experience, because, no matter how complex and interesting and amazing a character is, they are still not on the same level as an actual human being with that person's entire life experience and how they've related to it the entire time. So basically what I'm just saying is, don't make fucking assumptions about how someone's inner life is and how they feel and relate to the world. And that is why basically when someone tells you how they identify, you fucking believe them. Because you don't know and you cannot judge. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Perhaps you can tell that I'm a little angry, because I see people do it to particularly my trans friends all the time, and it's super fucking rude, and you need to stop. Of course, you being the generalistic asshole you, because I'm pretty sure if you're watching my vlog that this is not a problem that you have, but, thanks for listening to me vent, random stranger who didn't come flying into my Twitter mentions to piss me off all night. So, Stranger Things 2. So this is the part where I'm actually going to talk about spoilers, and so just like, if you don't want to talk about Stranger Things 2 spoilers, have a great Thursday. I hope you make it through to Friday. Woo! So, finished watching it, and the last 2 episodes were definitely like a great pickup after the complete and utter upsetting disappointment that is episode 7, because like, you know, obviously I am really not an authority to critique, say, the depiction of Kali, but, you know, I was looking at it and going like, this is basically, other than Lucas's mom, the only non-white woman we get to see in the entire show, and her moral choices are basically depicted as she's evil and selfish and da-da-da-da, and there's not a lot of complexity there, so that was like really upsetting, especially since she was apparently just there to help Elle level up. And so like Elle's anger at everything that's happened is okay because she's dealing with it in the exact way that the producers of the show like, and Kali's isn't. I don't know. But so that was like, I had a problem with that, and I really feel like, can we have justice for Kali as a character, because she should have been so fucking cool. Like, her power is amazing, and she's got this really cool backstory, and she has literally built her own family, but even that is kind of not really depicted that positively, I felt, which was also because I have such a thing about found family. That was kind of like a little upsetting to me, and plus it was just kind of a shit episode. But anyway, so then we got back on track, and like, I mean, you know, the ending was just so 80s-tastic with the whole like, and then we're gonna have the school dance and all the kids, which, I mean, I felt a little weird watching it, like a bunch of 13-year-olds kiss. I mean, thankfully it wasn't like super kissy, but I was still just like, I'm pretty sure that like that was not a place I was at when I was 13, but maybe I'm just weird. Like, I don't fucking know. And you know, I've kind of talked with a few other people about kind of what they're thinking, because I know some people didn't even make it all the way through the show because, you know, they found like the shit with Kali so upsetting. And it was also really weird that like you see her at the beginning of the first episode, and then she just fucking disappears until episode 7, which is just not really good pacing on the relevance of the reveals. Like, I don't recall there being any other kind of callbacks to, oh hey, remember this person, she's super important, until she just like kind of, you know, pops back into being in episode 7. You know, in episode 6 we're kind of like, oh, maybe this is the lady that we saw in the first episode, but that's still like, you know, that's at that point like 6 hours ago. So that also felt like kind of a weird writing choice. But let's see, I know people were saying that they really did not get past the stuff with the cat, which weirdly, like, with you know, justice for Muse, like, I mean, weirdly, that actually didn't bother me that much, which is strange, because I'll normally just like nope the fuck out of anything where the animal dies. And maybe it's because I was watching it from a place where I was like, oh, you know, this is horror, so I kind of already figured what was going to happen the minute Dustin decided it was a great idea to pick up the disgusting alien polywog. Like, again, why does no one listen to Lucas? Like, listen to your fucking ranger. So weirdly that didn't bother me, because I think I was just kind of like carried along by it. But and I feel like they didn't necessarily, no, I feel like they actually did kind of finally give Barb some justice, just in the fact that you know, that was Nancy's driving force, and I really liked what they did with Nancy. And, you know, at the end, Barb gets to have like an actual funeral, and you can see that she's missed. And it's still not great because Barb basically got fridged so that Nancy could have character development. But I mean, I guess it's an improvement where, you know, at least a female character gets to have character development instead of it just being like a man going, no, or whatever. So I feel really fucking bad for Bob, because I mean, it's weird. We went through like the whole thing with Bob up until the episode where Will starts drawing like the map thing, where I was just like, is Bob a government spook, or is he dead meat, like, basically? And especially in that episode where he kind of tells Will and gives him just the worst fucking advice in the world. We were like, oh my god, was that delivered? Is he a government spook and he's trying to like bring about like the chthonic apocalypse or whatever? And you know, but then it was like, no, he is not, you know, he's just like a genuinely okay dude who was trying to give someone advice in a situation where it really didn't apply. So therefore we knew that Bob was toast, because apparently Will's mom isn't ever gonna, you know, have anything nice. And we were right, and I feel bad. But then again, I don't think what was done to him was really an injustice, because he got to have like a shitload of character development. And, you know, so I was sad to see Bob go, because he was kind of cool. But let me think, what else did I want to mention? Like, I loved kind of watching them emphasize more, like, the idea of the boys as the D&D party, especially, like, Dustin is such a fucking bard. Like, that entire episode where the cat gets eaten, you're just like, all right, he is just nailing his charisma rolls over and over again, like, when he's talking to his mom, or when he goes to Steve and is like, you're gonna come help me, like, all that stuff. And of course, after he completely botched his insight check about picking up the disgusting alien polywog to begin with. So, I mean, that part was really fun. I mean, I don't know, it is an imperfect series, and I certainly am not going to argue with someone who didn't like it, because I already talked about how if someone is like, I do not personally like a thing, you just say, oh, I'm okay, we disagree on that, and that's cool. But I enjoyed it, and I'm going to look forward to the next one. I really did like the development of Steve as a character, because I remember, like, I thought he was such a dirtbag in the first series, and then he kind of started growing on me a little, and then in this one, he just, like, transformed into like his own version of you know, the caretaking adult. Like, I saw this little meme on Twitter that I thought was the cutest thing, where it was like, you know, strong moms and Stranger Things, and it's like Will's mom, I'm sorry, I can't remember her freaking name, I'm so bad with names, but like, you know, and Lucas's mom, and then Dustin's mom, and then Steve. and I just, you know, I loved that. And then, like, oh my god, that, like, the douche, what is Jimmy or Billy or whatever his name is, like the guy with the mullet who like always wears his shirt super unbuttoned. Oh god, I hate him so much. And I'm glad that he's continuing to be like sort of the evil adolescent male character, and he's not going to have like his sort of character development like Steve. I think he's just going to always be like an awful, violent, evil little shit, and he's terrible. And I like when they got to the part in Beyond Stranger Things where they were talking about him, and it turns out he was like a Power Ranger, and he was the Red Ranger. I screamed so loud that it scared my cat, and Tango, and he ran away. So, I mean, those are the main things that just are really on my mind after finishing the show, and I had fun with it. There were some parts that I didn't like, you know, but I'm still enjoying it, so we'll see what they do with the next series, because you know there's going to be another one. Anyway, wow, it's 13 minutes, so we're going to finish. Bye, everybody! Survive till Friday!